Oh, we're going live after a route like that. 76ers absolutely do what they're supposed to do, Keith Pompey, and that's put a whooping on the Brooklyn Nets. He's Keith Pompey. I'm Marc Farzetta. We'll break it all down, including what could be a battle for first place versus those Chicago Bulls. All that and more in this edition of Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And we do thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This particular episode brought to you by the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Keith, 3 20-point scores. Kelly Oubre, who is the first 20-point scorer of the game in the first quarter. Tyrese Maxey, Quentin Grimes, they have themselves a night, each scoring over 20 points in this one. An absolute dominating performance against the Brooklyn Nets. What am I to take away from this, Keith? What do you? Did we learn anything? Is confidence inspired by a win like this? How do you feel after a victory like this over the Nets?
Well, the first takeaway is that the Brooklyn Nets are trash. Like they're like, they're like the G League elite. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Now, but here's the thing. Here's the main takeaways. There's 3 takeaways from this game, in my opinion.
Okay.
The first one is Kelly Oubre is the X factor for the Sixers this season, because I know that he came out and he was guns ablaze in the night, but Kelly has actually quietly played well throughout the whole season, all 6 games, right? So that's number one. The second takeaway is that, Quentin Grimes is more versatile than people think. Quentin Grimes had a career high 13 assists. He had 7 in the first half. He was just out there, getting dimes left and right. The third thing is Tyrese Maxey had a quiet 26 points, to whereas it just seemed like whenever he needed to take a shot, whenever he wanted to take over, which wasn't a lot, he did it. So when I look at Tyrese Maxey, I'm saying to myself, I know it's early, but he has to be considered as one of the top 5 players in the league right now. His stats say it all. And not only that, what about MVP consideration? Now, again, there is a long season ahead of us, and we got to see other things. But those were the 3 takeaways that I took from this game right now.
I'm going to add one more to it. I'm going to add one more takeaway, because this is something I hate when teams do it, and when they don't do it, I feel like it needs to be acknowledged. They didn't do the really annoying thing, Keith, of playing down to an opponent.
It's true.
They did exactly what they were supposed to do against a terrible Brooklyn Nets team. I love it when it's going so well that you get to put in guys like Janai Boom, and you get to see a guy like Kyle Lowry go out there and get his first points of the season, and you get to see the team go off and celebrate the idea of Kyle Lowry knocking down his first 3-point shot, his first points of the year. It was great to see the Sixers do exactly what they needed to do against a team like the Nets, and also at the same time, when you do, as you said earlier, play a team that's like a G League type opponent in the Brooklyn Nets, you get to kind of work on that chemistry a little bit. You get to try to pick each other up. Sixers struggled a little bit in that first quarter for guys not named Kelly Oubre, and then they really started taking control of the game in that second quarter and really start to build momentum for the rest of the game. And I thought that just set the tone, really, not just Oubre's performance in the first quarter, but really how the rest of the team responded in the second quarter as well.
Yeah, I have to agree 100%. I mean, because when we look at this Sixers team, now here's the crazy part. People forget this. A couple years ago, when the 76ers were playing, and they were playing really well, they started off strong. They had a tough time playing when they played against the teams they should beat. Like, they always played down to their competition. And it was crazy. It was always played down to their level. And then they also, something else that this team is doing that the other one hasn't, is like they were able to win on the road. We look at it right now, and the 76ers are 3-0 on the road. 3-0 on the road, whereas that year I'm talking about, they struggled on the road. I think they might have won. Well, it was embarrassing. At one point, like they were won 6 games at a point on the road. It was horrible. So when you look at it, yes, they're playing well. The one thing you got to take from this is that I think this game, basically all the things that we talked about, their ability to come back and put teams away. Kelly Oubre, the way that he's been playing this year was highlighted today. The unselfishness, because in the past there have been other guys trying to get buckets, but what did they do? They were trying to feed him the ball. I believe at one point he scored 16 of 19 points. And Tyrese Maxey, I believe he scored three of them, the ones that they had. One was a technical foul, and the other one was a floater. So outside of that, it was all about Kelly. And then Quentin, he showed it. He showed what he can do. I mean, here's the thing. We all know, like last year, Nick Nurse was saying, I want to see if Quentin Grimes can be a backup point guard moving forward. Can he be that ball handler that we need, right? Because at the point, all you thought you had was Jared McCain, right? Mm-hmm. Now you look at it, they got Edgecombe bringing the ball up at times. Then we know what Jared McCain can do. And now you can say, okay, well, we can have Quentin bringing the ball up at times and have Maxey and Edgecombe on the wings. So what this does is it just gives them a lot of different options. As Brett Brown used to like to say, optionality. So they have this optionality now to whereas they can just have a lot more interchangeable parts. Again, it was the Brooklyn Nets. But at the same time, you know what? They did things against the Nets that, you can build upon.
Absolutely. You just mentioned Grimes. I want to go back to Oubre in a second, but on Quentin Grimes, there was the third quarter of this one was rather unproductive. I think there was only 40 points scored in the third quarter, so things slowed down. Production slowed down a little bit, but there was something about Quentin Grimes in that quarter, and I actually marked it down. It was he hits a three. They go up 83-69. Then I think it was Grimes having two turnovers. And then after the turnovers, did not hang his head, he showed great poise and kept finding other ways to help the Sixers reestablish momentum. He came back, hit another three, and then he came down and got a layup to make it a 90-75 Sixers lead at that point. And really, that just showed me something about Quentin Grimes where, these are the games where you're not tanking. This isn't the final 23 games of last year or 25 games of last year. This is a team that is trying to show how good they can really be. And a guy like Quentin Grimes on that $8.7 million deal is trying to show that maybe in his next deal, he could be a $20 million player. He could be an $18 million player. So he still has a lot of motivation to go out there and play well. And he certainly was able to do that tonight, despite a couple of turnovers there in the third quarter, gathered well, distributed beautifully throughout the evening. I think at the half, he had seven assists at the half. And he built on it from there. So, definitely like what you're saying there about Grimes. As far as Oubre goes, I heard Nick Nurse after the game talk about how Oubre's defense had helped him on the offensive end as well. Did I hear that right? Was he talking about how
correct? You heard that correct. Because here's the deal. So what happened is he held Michael Porter, and it's funny because I have a friend. She's a friend of mine. Like, we've been friends for a while. Like, I've known her for a while because she knows my cousins and stuff like that. But anyway, but she was like, yo, what happened to Michael Porter? I'm hearing he's supposed to be he didn't do anything, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever. So then here's the deal. Nick Nurse was talking about how he held him to 2 points, right, in the first half. And Nick Nurse was saying, and that's him coming off of a great game. Nick Nurse was right. The last time they played was on Wednesday against the Atlanta Hawks. Of course, they lost. But he had 32 points, which was a season high, 32 points. And Kelly Oubre got in him. Like, he had this guy looking bad. Like, he had him looking like the Denver Nuggets traded him for a reason. You know what I'm saying? That type of bad. So, when you think about that, and to be honest with you, I never really heard that before, like a guy killing it on the defensive end that translate on the offense is normally like defenders. You're a defender for a reason, and offensive dudes don't want to defend. But that's what he said. He said that motivated him, and you know what? That was a good performance by Kelly. But again, I'm telling you, man, Kelly has been balling. Like, he was averaging 17 points through the first 5 games. And then he ended up with 29 tonight. He's shooting the ball well. He's doing a lot of different things. But you know what? This is a big game for him, and he proved why he's the X factor.
It makes me feel good about declaring myself president of the Kelly Oubre fan club midway through the summer. So, he's got us all in the fan club feeling pretty good about Kelly Oubre and what he's got going on. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Tyrese Maxey and what he had to do tonight, as well as Quentin Grimes. Also, a couple other guys getting involved. I mentioned Janai Broom. I mentioned Kyle Lowry. One more name really carving himself carving himself into the 76ers rotation now that he's healthy. We'll talk about him when we return. This is Locked On 76ers and Locked On 76ers YouTube channel. Let me tell you guys about Robinhood. You guys have been taking advantage of Robinhood. Robinhood helps you out when it comes to just about everything when it comes to the money. Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day, locking in on every opening, beating your personal record, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money now. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks, ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all in one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood Strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. That's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. And now let me tell you about the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Game Time app has you covered. Basketball season well upon us. Nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games for the beginning of the season. And let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in kiosks and all that stuff for a ticket, forget about it. What you want to do is get on the Game Time app. You want to download the Game Time app to your phone. You want to create an account. You want to use promo code Locked On NBA. The app gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack to scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. Recently used Game Time to grab myself a couple of seats for me and some friends. Had ourselves a blast. Game Time made it so unbelievably easy. And their zone deals are a real game changer. You could pick the section, and Game Time picks your seats, and you save big. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Swipe, tap, ticket, go on the Game Time app. Let's talk about Trendon Watford there, Keith Pompey. Man comes back from a hammy, gets his feet wet a little bit there against the Boston Celtics. Comes back out here in this game, has himself a nice little run, flirting with a triple-double. Not too bad. 7 assists, 9 rebounds to go along with 16 points, Keith, in 25 minutes played against his former team. Trendon Watford, if he needed a game against a G League team, if anyone needed a game against a G League team, I think it was Trendon Watford. Also, if that G League team happened to be a team that he played on last year.
Yeah, but you know what I think, like, I heard some of the questions today, and like people were talking about, like, what about Trendon? To be honest with you, Trendon, like, he just came back, right? Mm-hmm. And the first game that he played in against Washington, I was really impressed by it. I mean, I get it. Like, he only scored 1 bucket. He didn't play a lot of minutes, but the leadership quality and stuff that he's playing with, yeah, you know, you knew he was going to do it. And the thing is, you know, these are some of the things that everybody said that he could do. And let's face it, there's 2 things. You're going up against your former teammates. So you kind of know some of their tendencies, right? You know exactly what they're going to do. Secondly, the team is trash. So, yeah, so, like, I'm sorry to say it, but they are. And let's face it, they're trash for a reason. They're tanking. I'd be shocked if Michael Porter is on the team by the end of the season. I feel like somebody's going to pick him up, right? So, and they'll get some draft picks for him. But anyway, so here's the deal. So, like, you know, he does that, and he can maneuver, and he can do everything that he wants to do against his squad. So I wasn't like totally like, I wasn't in awe of it, put it that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
Like, and when we look at that team they got two dudes. I mean, they got the center. The center they have is pretty good, but you have Michael Porter, and then you have Cam Thomas. That's the bulk of their offense. So it got to a point where Trendon Watford could have started and might have had 40 against them or something, right? He played a lot of games. But I don't know. But yeah, that was a good start for him. Put it this way. It's a game for all of them what it was. It's, a game that you're supposed to put this team away, which they did. Secondly, a game where you work on some things, something else they did. And a game where you build confidence, where guys come back and they build confidence. So what that did is it set them up for this a tougher stretch that they're getting ready to get into starting this week.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll get into that stretch, of course, with the Chicago Bulls coming up in a second here on Tuesday. But Maxey came out of the gates here. Obviously, Oubre was just dominant. 22 points there in that first quarter. Sets a new career high for points in the first half, I believe it was, for Oubre. Maxey scores 9 in 9 minutes, I believe it was, or 10 minutes, excuse me, in that first quarter. Then he goes on to drop a total of 17 points in the first half. Also, he comes up with 6 assists, Tyrese Maxey. We had an ask, and I think I brought this up maybe a week ago with you, and I want to revisit this. We had an ask of Tyrese Maxey going into the offseason, and it was all about his ability to facilitate and his ability to be a point guard and whether or not he could be that guy. We asked for better court vision in setting up his teammates. I have seen him, in my opinion, Keith, I think he is better than what we saw last year, certainly in being able to set up his teammates. Has he fulfilled that ask that we had in the offseason of having better court vision, finding his teammates, putting them in good spots to get buckets?
Yes. Now, the true test is going to come when they start playing tougher teams.
Sure.
Right? That's the true test. But here's the thing about Tyrese Maxey. Without Joel Embiid and without Paul George, Tyrese Maxey had to score a lot of points. You would, going into it, you would say, okay, Tyrese Maxey, we need you to score a lot of points and get a lot of assists. Like, you got to be the offense, right, for us to win these games against these teams. Well, that's what he did. He went out there and he scored a lot of points and he got a lot of assists. Mm-hmm. You look at it and you have to say that Tyrese Maxey is a better player this season than he is next year. We talk about him with the assists, but the thing about it is, you remember before, Tyrese Maxey worked on some things, but initially at first he was a guy who can get out in the open floor and get a layup, maybe hit a 3 or 2 or something like that. Then all of a sudden, the James Harden kind of like the stuff he learned from James, he started doing with the step backs, the side 3. He had a side step 3. Then now we look at it and dude, he's a 3-level scorer now. Like his float game is like off the chart. He got a little teardrop. He got a lot of different things that he can do. So when you look at Maxey, you have to say that to a point, and believe me, I don't do this loosely, y'all. And it's still early, so things could change. But I'm a voter for traditionally. I had a vote for like first team, all like all-star, all NBA, MVP, all this and that. And let's keep it 100. I only voted MVP one time because I felt like that's the only time he won it. I'm looking at Tyrese Maxey and I'm thinking like this dude is a starter. I know it's only 6 games, but he's showing me everything he should to be a starter for the All-Star game. He's also showing me that he can be an early season contender for MVP if he keeps this up. But what he's doing right now, people got to realize Tyrese Maxey heading into the night's game, he led the league in scoring. He was, I believe he was 4th in assists. For 3-pointers made, he was tied for 3rd, right? And then you look at what he did tonight. Yes, he had 26 points. To him, that's nothing nowadays. But when you look at the ease he scored those points with, when you looked at whenever he wanted to get a bucket, he did. and he was turning it on, turning it off. He was trying to get teammates involved. He has to be in the conversation right now. He just has to be.
You're exactly right. And here are the numbers. Going into tonight, 35.2 points per game, most in the NBA, ahead of Giannis by a full point, who was at 30.
You mean the highest, right? The highest.
Highest. Yeah. One of the highest.
Yeah.
Assists per game, fourth highest, 9.4 assists per game. 3-pointers made, he's now second in the NBA, and he's at 4.4 right now, ahead of Luka Doncic, who's at 4.3 for third, who is tied with Steph Curry right now.
You talking about percentage? 3-point percent?
Average made per game.
Okay. Oh, average per game. Yeah.
I mean, look, yes, we all understand it's early, Keith. But if you're talking about the first 6 games of the season, who's the way too early favorite, that kind of thing, Tyrese Maxey is certainly in that conversation. And on top of it all, it's been a blast.
The only other person I would say is the Joker, right? Right now, because the Joker is averaging a triple-double, dude. Like, Nikola Jokic is averaging a triple-double, which is crazy. I mean, it's crazy, dude, that this guy is averaging. And, like, he's number 20, or no, he's number 40 in scoring. He's number 1 in assists and number 2 in rebounds, which is ridiculous.
It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. All right, we're going to take a look at the road ahead with the rest of this road trip with the 76ers, and also take a look at how Joel Embiid might have fared if he did play against the Nets, and if it was the right thing to do to keep him out tonight so that he's ready for rest of this road trip. Talk about that and more when we return. This is Locked On 76ers. Ah, yes. Now it's time to tell you about Rougiet. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Maybe Rougiet helped you out over the weekend. Because let's be real, making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just the stress. I'm tired. It happens to everyone sometimes. Enter Rougiet. Rougiet.com. Rougiet.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougiet. Rougiet.com. Rougiet makes it easier to get, and also when you order it, and if you're prescribed, your treatment ships directly and discreetly to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private. It's all handled by real doctors. It's all about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter most. Visit Rougiet.com. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order at Rougiet.com/LockedOnNBA. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our promo code LockedOnNBA so you know and they know that we sent you. Rougiet, stop making excuses and start making moves.
Yo, I gotta say something, dude. I'm sorry. Yo, hey, y'all. For everybody, listen. My man is the bomb when it comes down to live reads. It's like Rougiet. I'm like, huh? No, I give it. I'm just messing with you. But no, it's pretty good though, bro. I give it to you.
Yeah, the ad read, you mean? The ad read. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate it.
Nah, yeah, my man, Rougiet.
Shout out.
Like, okay. Player. And watch I get in trouble. But I'm sorry.
Come on.
Nah, you're doing pretty good. Rougiet.
We're pushing product, brother.
Yeah,
we're pushing product.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're doing a heck of a job, bro. We're about to retire. I'm about to retire from my day job. The way you're doing these live reads, forget that. I'm not going to have to work another day. Pay the man.
Keith. Hey, Keith. Speaking of making moves, what do you think of Joel Embiid? No, all right. Sorry, there was no transition. There was no transition from that. So just a thought. As we've established, the Nets, scientifically speaking, I believe it's according to the Elias Sports Bureau, the Nets are trash. So, with that being said, would this be would this be a game that you would have put Embiid out there for an easier game for him, a game where he's got a little bit more leeway, almost similar to playing against the B squad of the Timberwolves in the last preseason game? Or the Sixers just like, nope, he's only going to play against the top tier opponents that we're going to be facing on the rest of this road trip. What do you think about how the Sixers are handling Embiid for this game and, the next two, so to speak?
Well, here's the thing. If I'm a fan and I want to see Joel Embiid play, I would say to myself, I would be a little disappointed, right? I would say, well, why didn't Joel play tonight? Because Joel could play tonight, then he would miss the game against Chicago on Tuesday, but then he can come back and play Wednesday, right? But when you look at it, right, there's only the Cleveland game is cool too, but you really would like to see him play against the Bulls. That's the one thing. Secondly, when we look at it, Joel Embiid has been playing on at least 2 days rest so when you look at it and you say, okay, they played on Saturday. No, they played on Friday. This game is Sunday. If he waits until Tuesday, then he gets a couple of days of rest. But then you're not going to get him again, and then you'll probably play him against the Toronto Raptors. Now, he may not be able to play against Detroit the next night, but at the same time, it just seems like this has been the plan, right? And it's not a matter of who they're playing. It would have been the plan. It's also one of those things where, could you imagine if he played tonight and then all of a sudden he had a phenomenal game? Although him in the Nets center, they go back and forth a lot now, right? They got a little rivalry. But if he had a phenomenal game and then all of a sudden they're in Chicago and Drummond is struggling and Adembona is struggling, and people are looking at Embiid saying, dang, dude, you were stat chasing. You went up and played against the G League Unite, but yet and still we need you against the Bulls. So, my thing is, what? This is what they've been doing, and you're going to miss them against Cleveland. I get that. I understand that. But, he got to play. I mean, you got to have him against the Chicago. Cleveland. They're getting them against Chicago. This is for first place. Early first place game. You want to have your big man in there. You want to see
measuring stick game.
It's still early now. Both of those teams, may not be there towards the end, but at the same time, right now they're there, and this is a big time game.
So Tuesday night, the Sixers have the Bulls in Chicago. So likely, do you play him against the Bulls or you play him against the Cavs? Because obviously you have the back-to-back Tuesday and Wednesday night.
No, I'm playing him against the Bulls, man. I'm playing him against the Bulls. The Cavs would be nice too, but I'm playing him against the Bulls.
All right, so he gets
the deal is so we think about this. He played on Friday. They had off yesterday. They had a game today. So that's 2 days. He's gonna have 3 days rest, man. I'm playing him against Chicago. He's on the trip with the team, right? Nah, he's playing. And then we just keep that plan. We keep that plan. And then you got to decide moving forward, okay, are we going to have you play against Toronto or are we going to have you play against Detroit? It might be Toronto. But here's the thing. At this particular time, you can make an argument that the ball moves better without him at this particular time. They get out in there a whole lot faster without them and stuff like that. That Cleveland game is probably going to be an extremely fast-paced game. And, you got to question, is he in shape enough or whatever enough to contend with them? So Toronto might be better. But you know what? It's not like in the past. Now, here's the good thing about the Sixers. Again, they played the G League Ignite. They played that, right? But at the same time, they have a quality bench. The 76ers are 2-0 without Joel. 2-0. And they won every game that he didn't close out. All right? So right now, in the past, it was one of those things where you say, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? But right now, I do feel like they're with Bona and Drummond, and you got to realize, it's a little bit of confidence now, especially with Bona. You know, so I think they'll be fine, man. I think they'll be fine. Yo, it wasn't even Emotep's JV team. It was like the middle school that feeds people. You know what? Like I know, Justin Edwards from Frankfurt. So I'm gonna say it was like a couple of dudes from Stern Middle School in Frankfurt that they played against. That's what it was.
One more.
Huh?
Yeah. One more I want to get from Duchess, by the way, because we didn't mention him. VJ Edgecombe, he did almost dunk on the Nets. He dunked on the whole team pretty much almost 3 times off the top of my head, and he definitely threw it down on a real nice slam. That was a lot of fun. He was flying out of there. He had 16, by the way, in 33 minutes tonight, 6 of 12 shooting, 2 for 6 from beyond the arc.
He's special.
That's what VJ.
Man.
Yeah,
he's special. And I'm gonna do to say the Sixers messed up. He didn't get Ace Bailey. What an idiot. But and the one guy that he almost got a body on was Nick Claxton. And so Nick Claxton is pretty good. That's the guy that him and Joel go back and forth all the time. You know, they're pushing each other and all that stuff.
Sure, yeah.
But he almost got a serious body on him early on. It was crazy.
Yes, he did. Keith Pompey. Make sure you guys are reading Keith Pompey on Inquirer.com. We appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Also, make sure you guys check out Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Do yourselves a favor and check out our man. All right, when it comes to fantasy basketball, check out Josh Lloyd for the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and also helping you win your league while also making you the smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For Keith Pompey, I'm Marc Farzetta. Make sure you guys read Keith on Inquirer.com. See you guys Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah,
we'll
see us on Tuesday. Yeah, see you Tuesday. We'll have a lot more talking about the big time matchup, the first one of the season.
Looking forward to it.
Second one, because the Boston one was pretty good.
Yeah, true. He's Keith Pompey. I'm Marc Farzetta. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to Locked On 76ers. See you Tuesday.